Today I want to talk about crystal balls and Texas fans in their feelings and recap this wild weekend for Oklahoma and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today I want to talk about Texas fans, Sooner Summit, Kelvin Gilliam, Tristan Lay, Camar Wheaton, Savion Byrd. Now, start with Texas fans are in their feelings, as is BJ Simmons at Texas Tech, all saying the same thing. You cannot tell me that a recruit organized an unofficial visit that featured 3 5-stars, a 4-star, and a 3-star, and another 3-star that we know about, and with other committed prospects that had not visited Norman, and they'd all decided to do this on their own. And there are things along the way that just kind of feel to other folks like Oklahoma is cheating. Like the stadium was open. Well, every time that I've wanted to go to the stadium, it's kind of been open, especially if they know that you're coming. They also acknowledged that there was, a game on the board. There were some highlights on the board, on the video board at Owen Field, and a number of other coincidences that might take place. And we're in the middle of a dead period, unprecedented dead period, for which I thought that this kind of stuff might happen and has been happening, quite honestly, since the pandemic really took hold in Oklahoma and the nation in March, when Oklahoma City, when Oklahoma City became the center of the universe, when Rudy Gobert tested positive for COVID-19 and everything shut down. Since then, I have read stories about kids taking unofficial visits almost everywhere. And it's a loophole that's not a loophole. So the way that this works is during a dead period, coaches can communicate with players and their parents via written messages and telephone calls, which is to say that they cannot have any in-person contact of any kind. And we haven't seen official visits of any kind in like 6 months. But if you were going to pull off this kind of trip, and you're going to pull off this kind of meeting, having your 5-star quarterback at the center of it is the way to go. And big ups to Caleb Williams, who's already demonstrating what kind of a leader he can be throughout all of this. And I find that to be the most cool part of this, is the ingenuity that it takes to get this far. And we're at a place where we've never been before, so you would expect people to be a little bit more innovative than they had in the past, because they have to be to get what they want accomplished. So just getting Tristan Lay to Norman is a big deal. Still believe that he's an LSU lean. And getting Camar Wheaton and Savion Byrd to Norman feels like it's a big deal, because we saw the I's and an O tweeted by Lincoln Riley, and there have been a number of crystal balls coming in for Camar Wheaton and Savion Byrd that right now point them in the direction of Oklahoma, which would be a big win for OU, because in this class you're looking to add Tristan Lay perhaps, but also Bryce Foster, along with guys like Savion Byrd, to join guys like Cullen Montgomery. And Cullen Montgomery took to his Twitter profile to say that he had formed a real bond with Savion Byrd. He also is committed early in January, and he really loves the place. For him to come and help Caleb Williams try to persuade the likes of Tristan Lay and Camar Wheaton and Savion Byrd and others to try to entertain the possibility of Oklahoma is no small thing. The way that rival fans have been reacting to this has also been telling. I mean, even one Clemson beat writer got into her feelings about, so OU Stadium just happened to be open on this day. And there may be some secondary violations that come from this, but none of them seem like they're going to be the kind that might cause the kind of consternation among OU fans that you might expect. Now, the last time that I saw an egregious violation, it was Ohio State and their recruitment of Micah Parsons, for which we come to find out that he took photos with Kurt Herbstreit and Eddie George. They are considered boosters by the NCAA, and that was a violation. In part, they had to stop recruiting him and to cut ties with him. And when you stop doing that and you don't tell the kid about it, he's liable to believe you don't like him. So he ends up going to Penn State. I find that to be a little farther, but there were stories about other OU beat writers that were showing them around. There were stories about perhaps what this might mean for Texas moving forward, even though Turner's going to be on campus this week for them, and they're probably going to hurt. But how I look at this with how other folks are reacting to it is they did not think of it first, or they could not pull it off at this magnitude. And that's why this is causing so much anguish among the folks and the peoples is, yo, you got 3 5-stars on campus without the help of coaches. What else are you capable of? And that's kind of what we're waiting to see. I think that the way to look at this is, quite honestly, to say that it's August, that we don't even know if we're going to get a full season of football. We know that we're going to try playing football. We know that we're in the middle of a pandemic. And we know that we perhaps might not even see an early signing period, because when's anybody going to be able to take a visit? Going to have to push that into February at a minimum. And now with this new NCAA rule that's going to allow for a free year of eligibility for all the fall sports that decide to play, you've complicated this thing further, because we don't know if that's going to extend to the teams and programs that are choosing not to play in the fall and are already planning to play the ball in the spring. Do they get a free year of eligibility too? What does this do to your scholarship distribution? Because you cannot be expected to take on another 15 to 25 scholarships than you normally would without changing the rules and putting the school on blast, because not every school has enough money to provide between 100 and 110 scholarships in one season and then go back to 85. You're really going to screw up the process for a lot of people, and you're going to screw up the process for people that didn't even get to play this fall. Like I did this segment about Ohio State and how it's the most fascinating story in sports for me right now because of all the things that have happened to this tradition-rich college football program. Meanwhile, it looks like Oklahoma is going to try to join the SEC and ACC schools in trying to bend every bit of this to their will. And why are you upset about that? That's college football. It's always been imbalanced. The more people try to make it fair, like myself would say, a 2014 playoff, the less people like it to be fair. They want to know that the richest teams in college football get to play for national championships. Same goes with your recruiting budget, and the same goes with how important it is for you to try to win football games. Now, is something like this going to be pulled off again somewhere else? I'm sure that it is, right? Because the other thing that you can be assured of in college football is if something works for somebody else, expect the entire country to copycat it. 20 years ago, nobody was running air raid. It was considered a gimmick offense. And now you see air raid concepts and principles all over football at every single level. Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes took it and won a Super Bowl with it. Now you got Lincoln Riley, who was very much at the forefront of this thing, learning at Mike Leach's knee as early as he took over the Texas Tech job, running game in the recruiting ranks as well with guys like Cale Gundy, who's been at Oklahoma for more than 20 years and is one of the best recruiters in the country. There's a lot of things happening here, and I'm really interested to see where we go from it. All right. Remember, you can download the RJ Young Show podcast wherever you get your podcast and rate it, review it, leave us 5 stars, please. Uploading there pretty regularly. That's where the live shows are going to be. All right. That's it for me. Deuces.